he's been stopping the puck fairly well. So we've had absolutely no problems at all. Probably the greatest help he's been, well, maybe not the greatest help, that's probably not the best word, but something that came unexpected has been his work with Yakupov and Belov. A great example was in the Anaheim game. There was 6 minutes left on the clock, and Yak got a hold of the puck a couple times, and not decisions that we loved and not anything that cost us. And the whistle went, there was a timeout, and Yak sat down in front of me, and I was just about to lean into him and talk to him about the play, and it was a timeout, and Briz was already in front of me, and they got Briz. It was a one-sided conversation. Briz wasn't yelling. It was an even tone, and they were going on in their native tongue. And Briz was like da-da-da, da-da-da, pointed at the clock, da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. And I thought I knew what he was saying. And when he was all done, I tapped Yak on the shoulder, and I said, he's right. And Yak turned around, and he goes, that's right, I can't turn the puck over at this time in the game. Briz is right. So it's things like that are so important, the veteran leadership that he's provided here as well.
Speaking of Yak, I mean, he's only played like 6 minutes the last 2 games. Obviously, this guy, the Oilers took #1 overall. Just a thought on, you've had the success with the team on the ice, you've gotten the wins, but obviously you have a plan for it. We're not going to continue to see him play just 6 minutes a game and not on the power play.
No, and that's right. There is a plan, and that plan will change a little bit tonight. The thought process of having him with those line mates there's a lot of things going on. There's other players playing better ahead of him at his position. So that's the first part of it. The second part of it, and maybe the more important part, is we want Yak to play a simple game and not be enticed in playing a complicated one. And sometimes when you play with more skilled players, you get enticed into that complicated game. And we thought we would put him with a couple guys who just want to get the puck deep, and they want to cycle the puck, and they want to be good defensively, and that's their only concern. And I think it's rubbed off on Yak the last couple of games, where he's battled extremely hard. He's in his limited minutes. We think he's taken some strides forward. And we challenged our group to, if you want to play on the power play, how about get your 5-on-5 game straight? That's how it's always been in hockey. If you played well 5-on-5, you got the privilege of playing on the power play. And we think he's earned that right again. And we're going to get him back out on that power play tonight.
Back with Mr. Carlo, what were your first thoughts when you heard that Craig was interested in bringing him in? Or what did you think about that?
Well, I'm always open to anything. I think it's always dangerous just to go, well, this didn't work in this spot. I talked to, once Briz was a totally unrestricted free agent, was free, I spoke to him on the phone probably for close to an hour, not knowing him at all. Obviously a very long conversation about his experiences. I went through some of his past coaches. I was trying to get a feel for who he was. And when I hung up the phone, even though I wasn't sure which way we would go with this, I was certainly cheering for him. I was hoping that somebody would sign him and give him another chance. So, listen, you have to be open to everything. I think it's really dangerous to shut doors on people when they've run into a rough spot in a certain place. There are some teams in the league that have done a wonderful job on taking on guys that have maybe suffered the year before or gone through a tough stretch and got them back up on their feet. So, we're still very early on with Briz, but so far so good for me.
When it comes to Smitty, the story last night could have been just as easily the couple he missed there, but getting a couple of goals, his ice time seems to be increased significantly in the last 5-6 games. He's I think he's averaging about 3.5 shots on goal. Can you just talk about where he's at right now, how you view him?
Well, he's one of those guys that he's so competitive. It's it's hard to keep him down a lot of times. Is he the most fleet of foot anymore? No, he's not. But his experience, his gamesmanship is something that all of our players, I don't care their age, should be taking note of. And we were just talking last night after the game, like, how is it that a guy of Smitty's age and speed can end up with those chances on the net? Like, how is it that it's him on a lot of nights that have that chance? And it's because of his competitiveness and, like I said, his gamesmanship. He has a very high level of hockey sense. So, I think that's good for our whole group to take note of. Taking last night's game into perspective, but boy, I thought Smitty really struggled the first 2 periods. It was interesting. He was just a little bit behind and had a tough couple decisions with the puck. But then in the third, I thought he got his feet underneath him, and when we're protecting a 1-goal lead, I thought he was one of our key guys late. So it's been an interesting year for him. He's been a guy that started off really well, I think settled into his role with our team, and he continues to be a good player for us, a solid guy.
Dallas, can you take guys that could make him a project and say, okay, you're a fighter, but I see something where you can actually play 10 minutes a game. Can you work every day in practice and you're skating and get the puck down? Can you see, is there something there?
Yeah, he's getting there for sure. I think he's already improved since since we've got him, and he's a kid that's improved coming through the American League every year, and I just think because now, I'm not going to say he's an excellent skater, but he skates well enough that he can get around the ice, which is important. It's such a huge thing in today's game, and he's getting better along the walls. He's getting better having the confidence to make a play rather than just, oh my God, I've got to get the puck, I've got to get it in deep. So we still love pucks deep, but we really like if you can make a play and we can enter under control. So I just see Luke continuing to improve, and we hope that there are no limits on him, that that he never hits a wall, and he does get to that spot where he can be relied on in those 10 minutes, because in the end that's where you want to get your fourth line into that kind of 7 to 10 minute mark. If you can get them into there, it takes a little pressure off the rest of the group, especially on the road. That's when you really want to be able to use your fourth line. At home, you're rested. That's when you can run your top guys a little bit harder.
Considering that you're essentially into the second half of the season, no, not completely, but what is and what you've been through, how do you view what's ahead of this team the rest of the season?
What way?
Well, do you just, you've had to deal with a lot of things that, the negative storm we talked about a few days ago here, but it appears that there are some positives coming together now. Do you see this being I don't want to say easier team to coach, but a different environment going forward with what they've put in their pocket so far this year?
Well, I think we're finding our way. I think that now the players firmly understand where I'm coming from. I understand, I'm probably about 95% sure of who each and every one of those players are, and what the concerns are with their play, what they're excellent at, which buttons need to be pushed to have them take an extra step. or get better habits. So those are good things. Is it going to be butterflies and puppy dogs here through to the end? I'm not sure about that. It never is. Even when you have a good team, you have your ups and your downs. So I think we still have to always be ready for adversity. And obviously we've already had our fair share of that along the way. So I think when you go through these horrible times that we've been through, it does make you better at handling situations and weathering storms. So that's about the only good that I'm taking out of what's happened here so far, is that moving forward, anything that happens to us negatively shouldn't be a big deal, because I think we've weathered about as much as we will ever have to.
Dallas, just a quick thought on facing the Flyers again. Last time you played them, you traded Schmid the day before. It was a bit of an emotional thing with some of the guys, and they really took it to you. Like, they dominated play 5-on-5 in that game. So what sort of things do you need to do differently see out of your group on the heels of a back-to-back against this team tonight to have a better result?
Yeah, I think I remember the game because I think Philly was suffering greatly too at the time, and it was one of those games that we thought who was ever going to come out of that game with the win. The one team was probably going to spread their wings and fly, and the other team was going to go even deeper into the dumper. But I thought, listen, I've been in that building in Philadelphia so many times. I hate it there. It's never fun to play there. The crowd's on you, just nasty people there, and intimidating place to play. And you're right, they did dominate us 5-on-5. I thought we were able to hang around in the game at least a little bit, but Craig Berube's got this team playing extremely well. They're back into the conversation. I think he's done a great job tonight. We have to be really responsible. The biggest thing that we've had our problems with in these back-to-back games is what we leave on the table, what we give the other team. And in the back-to-back games, we've been real quick to see what we can get. Let's see what we can get. Let's see what we can get. Well, we can't play that way in these games. We've got to take the approach that these guys are sitting, waiting for us. We've come off a nice win last night. I kept the guys, for the most part, away from the rink even this morning, trying that to see if that'll give us some extra boost, extra legs. But we're going to have to, number one, not give them any gifts, not leave anything on the table. But secondly, we're going to have to find our legs and match their energy. And if we can do that and limit the chances against, like we did last night, especially in the third period, I think that'll bode well for us.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Kelly, yes.